Hello and welcome. So, my name is Chester. I'm a sleep and performance specialist, and today I'm going to be talking about why your inconsistent performance at work isn't about your drive, your motivation, or your effort. It's about your sleep, okay? It's about your sleep and your recovery. So, a lot of people, they think that some days they perform well and some days they don't perform so well, and they think that's just random, right? Or you're just not sure of the root reason. I'm here to tell you it's your sleep, okay? So, you notice that when you perform well, you're doing great. Things are fantastic. You're performing well at work, you're getting the task done, you're sharp, you're focused, you're energized. But you've got days where you feel slow, you feel sluggish, you feel groggy, you feel like you're unable to focus. The whole reason behind that is because your mind isn't sharp because you haven't recovered in the night, right? So you know you've got the capability, you know you can output that level of work output, but it's inconsistent and it's not always there. So how do we take you from a position where you're inconsistent and you're not always performing your best, which is obviously holding you back, to getting to a position where every single day you show up and you are the reliable, most competent version of yourself? How do we unlock that? Well, first I want to talk about why you actually feel like you're not operating at 100%. And quite frankly, it's limited bandwidth, right? You have to think that when we sleep, we are restoring our cognitive focus. Sleep is so important for so many different factors. One of the main things is, how you process information, what your reaction speed is, like how do you make decisions? All of that is determined by sleep, okay? So if you're not sleeping as good as you could be, and I'm not just talking about the amount of hours you sleep, I'm also talking about the quality of your sleep. If it's not tip top, right, you're going to be sacrificing some of that. Some of that mental bandwidth, some of that cognition that you do have there, it's not being unlocked because you're simply not allowing it to be. You're limiting your capacity, essentially. So poor sleep leads to fluctuating attention, right? You might be sitting in a meeting, you might be sitting on a Teams call, and you can't quite pick up every single word, or you hear the words, but they just don't quite process, right? Decision speed, your ability to just take information and quickly act on it, react to it, speak quickly, get things done quickly. Your ability to just process and get things done, it's limited, right? And also your resilience and your stress resilience, your emotional resilience, okay? Sleep is really important at just keeping you emotionally grounded and stable and not reactive. If you're not sleeping and you're lashing out or you feel like the world is crumbling around you, that's because your brain isn't restored as it should be through proper, adequate sleep, okay? So the main problem with this as well is that others don't see the fact that you haven't slept well, right? You can tell them, but they don't really care, right? Nobody cares if you don't sleep well bar you, and it's not the poor sleep that's the issue here, it's the knock-on effect that it has on your performance, right? Your boss, right, your colleagues, your co-workers, your employer does not see the fact that you've not slept well. You don't have like a sign above your head saying, I didn't sleep well last night. They simply see the inconsistencies in your performance, your inconsistencies in your ability to lead your team or get a task done or kind of react quickly. They don't realize that that's down to poor sleep. They just see that that's you, right? So that's now your new identity. You'll be known as the person that's unreliable, okay? Why would they look at you and why would you stand out if some days you're on top form and other days you're lacking, other days you look slow, other days you're groggy, other days you're not, you don't have that sharp appearance about you? Why are they going to put trust in you? Why are you going to be the one for promotion? Why are you going to be the one that they take to the next level, right? You're not, right? If you're inconsistent. So the way you can sort of catch this early, if you notice that you're having some good days, right? Some days you're feeling on top of the world, you're able to crush work, you've got no issues, you've got high amounts of energy, you can focus for long periods, you're productive, you don't get crashes, great, that's fantastic. But if you notice that some days you are groggy, you do have brain fog, you are a bit slower to respond, you can't quite hear the words that are being said, right? If you notice that, then catch it early, okay? Because first it will start as it's one day in the week, then it'll be two, then it'll be three, and then it'll be more than half of the days in the week. you're not operating at 100%, and that is detrimental to you and your progress and ultimately your career progression, right? Because your employer, your boss, is going to look for reliability and consistent performance. So the person that is actually able to show up every day and do what they need to do, but do what they need to do well, is always going to be the person that is in the line for the next promotion. Always the person that is given the jobs that they know they can be trusted with, because they know they're going to execute to a high level. So be that person by prioritizing your sleep, because more caffeine, more effort, more just working harder doesn't work, right? You can't just work through poor sleep, because you're going to be held back. If you don't sleep, you're instantly capped at like 60% of your potential in the day. So you're already working from a lower foundation compared to the person that's just slept well, really well, and optimized for it, right? Caffeine obviously can help you feel more alert. You're going to get a crash after that, because it doesn't fix the root issue, it just masks it. And yeah, you can put brute force into it, right? And it does help a bit, but it's still like you're still operating at a lower percentage than what you would be, okay? And if you want to be at your best self, if you want to be the person in the running to progress, to get the promotion, then obviously you need to be as sharp as you possibly can be. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, every single day in the week. Because yes, you can put in effort, but if you put in effort when you're feeling your best, obviously that's going to be much better for your outcomes at work. So look, the thing that you can do to actually look at what's impairing your performance, why you're fluctuating, why you don't feel sharp every day, I'm going to help you out, right? So essentially I've made a performance capacity audit which looks to see what's actually limiting your performance.